It shows Rafsou's growing in form, and we also saw Rafsou perform late in FIFA 18 as well. So he's just one of those guys that kind of has a late bloomer. And then when you're looking at NYC Chris, he beat Levinkin in Manchester.
That's huge.
Levinkin is here, and we're talking about him being the favorite, the guy to beat. And I know we might be getting ahead of ourselves, but let's say Chris progresses, Levinkin progresses. We see that potentially in a final. Maybe Chris is the favorite, and I'm tired of talking about him being a nearly man.
Well, let's see him perform.
He's not a nearly man.
Let's see him perform right now. This is when it matters for these two players. Obviously, a lot on the line here. We've just seen exactly how much nerves came into effect in that first game. We saw Nightwatch's reaction from his win, and he was shaking when he came off the stage for his interview, but you can see we're almost ready to get into our second quarterfinal of the day. It is going to be Vitality's Rafsou taking on NYC Chris, and I've got to ask you, Mike, who is your pick as we get into the game?
I'm leaning with the NA. We're going to stick with Chris here. And if you guys are new to the competitive scene, both of these guys have a unique play style, so to speak. Rafsou will be looking to utilize as much possession as possible on the pitch. It's definitely the French way. And then Chris is always very cross-heavy. And things can change. You got to adjust to your opposition, but from previous tournaments, that's what you should expect.
Well, let's keep an eye on those play styles then. Let's see exactly how this game pans out. I think we might have some nervy opening exchanges here, but it's Cristiano Ronaldo in behind here for Chris. He's a little bit lucky with that break on the edge of the box. Neymar now. Beautiful drag back, does go down under pressure. It's Leon Goretzka in that central midfield position doing the defensive work, Mike.
And it's important for Chris to get off to a good start. It puts more pressure on Rafsou to have to make that comeback. And because Rafsou is such a good possession player, the longer the game goes 0-0, or even if Rafsou's ahead, then it forces you sometimes to rush your pressure play on the defensive end, and before you know, you're down a couple goals.
Well, Ronaldo somehow managed to keep that one in play, almost managed to find Neymar. And there's a little battle going on here between the two Brazilians, Marcelo and Neymar. And it is going to be finally won here by Chris. Gets away with that, a little bit shaky in defense early on.
And if we learned anything from Alan Avi facing off against Nightwatch, it's going to be all about limiting mistakes.
Well, here's Goretzka then. We saw what an impact he had, that team of the season foot iron, in that first quarterfinal. Da Costa in at right back as well, 6'2", such a big frame on that team of the season foot item, but it's Neymar who's managed to find just a pocket of space here. Building nicely here for Rafsou, that patience you talked about, Mike. Being shown perfectly here by the Frenchman. Here's Ronaldo, ball roll inside, back to Hullet. Can he find the space for the shot to get away? Neymar gets that shot away. De Gea gets both hands behind it. A comfortable save for Chris.
And it's worth mentioning, eChampions League, we have squad rules. And I say that because Chris is using Sanchez. No one else chose to use this player, yet alone to start him. Put him into the 11. And we're going to see if that's a good choice, or maybe it's going to be a bit of a suspect decision, so to speak. And if it is, we'll see adjustments, I would think, in the second leg.
It's 91 rated now, that road to the final foot item. Davinson Sanchez of Tottenham Hotspur. I'm sure Spurs fans watching at the moment are going to want him to have a big performance in the final, which is happening tomorrow here in Madrid. And there is Sanchez on the ball now, passing it out to Ramos. And now Chris has defended this early onslaught here very well from Rafsou.
Hello.
And it's a bit cagey.
How are you?
I feel like players are feeling each
Hello,
other out a
Sergeant.
little bit,
Hello.
trying to find that space. Who's going to strike first? And that's when you're going to see the energy kind of shift. You're going to see the rhythm, the pace shift in terms of the match. We saw that with Alan Avi and Nightwatch as well. Once we got the opening goals, it seemed a little more faster, a little more direct. Players went for it.
Well, here's Neymar trying to find the ball out wide there to Ronaldo. Ramos. This is where Chris likes to work. Pocket of space here for Ruud Gullit into R9. Great play here from Chris, and it's the post that denies him. Second phase, Ronaldo! Oh. Just wide of the target. Two huge chances there for NYC Chris.
Man, Rafsou's got to feel very fortunate. Sometimes that makes it where you're motivated.
Oh, mistake though. Ronaldo picks the ball up from the goal kick, but he can't take advantage. And that's an example, Mike, of the nerves once again.
Chris has to capitalize off a big mistake like that. Almost again as well.
Well, Rafsou gets away with it, to be honest with you. Riding his luck a little bit early, Mike.
And you saw slow turns there from Rio Ferdinand. That's one of the differences between someone like Rio Ferdinand and if you had Varane or if you had Ramos. Those Team of the Year cards have very high dribbling. Ferdinand, as a prime icon, doesn't share the same statistics.
Well, there is a free kick here, just on the edge of that final third here for Rafsou. 27 minutes gone in the game. It looks like he's just going to put it straight into the mixer, and Hullit's going to have to deal with that one defensively. Da Costa just brings that one down, and Rafsou will keep possession here to build another attack. Mbappe. Goretzka found Neymar, looking for that overlapping run there of Mbappe. Well defended again by Chris.
And I know I briefly touched on some of the squad rules with Chris, but if you look at Rafsou's team, you see Rio Ferdinand, you see Goretzka, you see Da Costa. These players aren't always regulars. Eusebio, a little bit out of the ordinary for some of the competitive teams that we've seen over the years.
And we've already seen what an impact some of these players are having. I mean, look at Havertz and what he did in that first game for Nightwatch. Huge performance from him. It's going to be such an interesting story to follow for these particular foot items.
I'd go as far as saying Havertz was the best player on the pitch, most impactful, offensive genius, gives you a little bit of everything. He's versatile.
Here's Neymar then. Speaking of Havertz, there's another player with a 5-star weak foot. He's got the 5-star skills to go alongside it as well. Neymar tries to find the ball into Eusebio. He gets the ball, Neymar! First strike to Rafsou.
And you see it there. Sanchez, poor turn, loses the ball, gives Rafsou a second chance, and that's what a lot of players were saying. I think that's going to be a liability for Chris. I don't think that's the move.
And the most impressive thing for me is that nerves did not affect Rafsou when he got into that position. We saw the green arrow, Mike. We saw it light up.
The green finish, which also means maybe a little bit more money, also green. Rafsou's just seeing all green.
First blow landed then by the Frenchman. Vitality's Rafsou. Breaks the deadlock here in Madrid. Now it's up to Chris to create some openings of his own. He has had chances so far in this game. Well, Rafsou has to be switched on here. Sometimes you do just switch off a little bit mentally. Having scored that goal, and Chris with the scoop turn from Ronaldo almost managed to get in behind the defense.
Lovely creativity there from Chris to add in that scoop turn. Hard to predict, gives you a little bit boost of pace while you attack that space. Oh, just a tad bit unlucky there.
We're behind here to Neymar. Ronaldo was the man who provided the pass. Just waiting for the midfield to catch up in the attack here. Mbappe comes short. Here's Hullet, maybe another chance, Eusebio. And that's the difference there, Mike. Yellow instead of green.
Yeah, I was gonna say he wasn't green there. Maybe we jumped the gun a little bit, said he was seeing green. He just got the stoplight approach, see some yellow now on the pitch.
Well, Chris has got a chance here to come forward, does have a bit of space, and here's R9. Got it on that right foot, another scoop turn here. Big chance here for Neymar, it's 1-1. That's how you answer back.
And you feel the momentum maybe shift a little bit now. Chris got that breakthrough. He had already hit the post earlier. We saw a couple opportunities, maybe some nerves from Rafsou. Just before halftime is one of the best times in a FIFA match to score as well, because your opponent has some time to think about the mistake that he made, and you have time to almost pump yourself up, talk to your coach, regain confidence, and push on.
And the interesting thing for me there is, we talk about Neymar, we see him in so many pros teams, but this is a team of the group stage, Neymar. Central cam position, so doesn't quite have the statistics of that team of the year, but still showing, Mike, he can get the job done.
Neymar gets busy. Some men would say that he has the sauce. Maybe even some women would say that he has the sauce as well. I don't know if it's barbecue or if it's a different type of sauce, some hot sauce.
Whatever it is, it's sweet.
He's got the skill moves. He's got a 5-star weak foot. He gives you the ability to score in a variety of ways. And people have to respect what Neymar can do on the pitch, whether that's the flicks, those skill moves, or just simple side steps, tiki-taka, 1-2 punches. He's got the speed. And at halftime, it's not a surprise to me. Rafsou, 62% possession. Chris, 38% possession. That's exactly how I expected this to go. And it's all about Chris being clinical and taking those chances.
And that's what we've seen from both players so far. The two big chances in this game as we see the second half getting underway have been taken by both of these players. It will be Chris with possession from the restart here, but that's an important tackle. To win the ball back from the restart, so vital, Mike.
Absolutely. Especially considering that he just conceded at the halftime whistle, so to speak.
Chris wins the ball back then, looking to release Kylian Mbappe down this left-hand side, and he's dealt with Da Costa, who's trying to do some defensive work. Been bullied a little bit, and you can see what Chris was trying there. Looking for that little flick up, Mike. Looking for that cross into the box.
And Rafsou has the scouting report. Everybody's been able to study each other. We talked about it earlier. You heard it mentioned. Chris has played the most matches this year in the competitive scene. Everybody knows what he's looking to do, what he's looking to accomplish. It is important as a player that you, I don't want to say rebuild, but you adapt. You almost reinvent yourself especially when you're playing that many matches, that many tournaments.
A perfect example of that. You're talking about adaptation. Look at what Nightwatch did in that second leg, a complete turnaround. And you know, as a man who's not too shy of being on the sticks himself, how difficult is that to do for these pros?
It's very hard because you're always going to sit there with a double-edged sword. Should I make this adjustment? Should I go with what I know already works? Is it going to work in my favor? Is this going to be a hindrance?
Well, here's Neymar then. Rafsou made with the chance. Hullit's waiting on the edge of the box, but you saw a little player switch there at the last second from Chris, utilizing Ruud Gullit to come across. And now look at the other end. Varane's desperately trying to catch up with Cristiano Ronaldo, manages to just about keep up with one of the most prolific players of all time in the Champions League. And he makes the tackle, made it difficult there for Chris.
Another example of maybe seeing those nerves. Chris hesitated. He didn't go with a skill move, didn't take a shot. We didn't see a turn or a change of direction. He didn't re-angle. None of the above.
So Rafsou now up the other end. Gullit, those long legs of Patrick Vieira intercept that ball and will it back. And look at the space in behind here for Neymar. And it looks like Chris might have found a little chink in the armor here. Ball into Mbappe, he greened it, and De Gea is going to just about claw that one away from the head of Ronaldo.
I don't think Chris is happy with all that space. He's waiting for Rafsou to move his players, and he's not getting that bait, so to speak. He's not able to pull him out of position, and it's making it where Chris is starting to hesitate more and more in terms of his attack. And as you misplay those situations and scenarios on the pitch, you start to think about them and overthink them. You lose the simplicity, some of the essential intangibles.
You can see a pause has been lined up, I should say, excuse me, by Vitality Rafsou here. Maybe changing some personnel, and that's going to be a fascinating battle in itself, Mike, because obviously you have to keep like for like with icons and UCL players here. So we're going to see some impactful substitutions coming off the bench, and now you're going to see Rafsou with that opportunity to make these changes.
You got to think maybe you see Messi come onto the pitch. Messi as a super sub. I'd love to have that option in my team.
Yeah, I don't have those coins.
I'm just saying, quite a foot item. And he's talking to his coach, actually. This might be a little timeout. He's got, of course, Vitality Brian there, who plays in the competitive scene as well.
It's actually Eden Hazard who's coming on the pitch. I think R9 Ronaldo also on the pitch now for Rafsou. 3 changes. Mbappe just going to toss this one into the box. It's actually going to fall here. Hazard now, the man who was just introduced to the game, can't quite get the beating of Sergio Ramos. And now Chris, you have to say, on the counter-attack, has had chances to exploit that space in behind. But again, not quite able to make it count.
And his timing was a little bit late. Even if that went through, he was offsides. Half step in the wrong direction.
So into the last 20 minutes then. Here comes Rafsou. Hazard fresh on the pitch, looking to make that impact. Ronaldo into Hazard again, turns back onto that right foot. Pull it back to Hazard. Twisting, turning. Goretzka lets one fly from distance. And De Gea will happily gather that. And again, just give Chris a little bit of breathing space here.
And Chris looks very comfortable looking for these counterattacks. In a different match, if he had taken these chances, he could be up 1-2 goals because he's made very clear-cut opportunities even without the possession play.
Such a risky tactic to try and employ though, but look at the pace of Hazard getting in behind Van Dijk. A drag back creates space, and he went for the rainbow flick. A little bit maybe over extravagant there from Chris. Or Rafsou, I should say, excuse me. Wins the ball back though.
I want to pick up this team as he's in foot item Hazard. ASAP.
He's looking pretty tasty at the moment.
Up to this point, he's been the most impactful sub without a doubt.
Here's R9 then into Mbappe. That's not going to trouble David De Gea too much. Another thing to note as well is that isn't the team of the year David De Gea we're seeing it. It's that UCL David De Gea, the 92 rated foot item. So that's another area we should keep an eye on, see if there's any mistakes in between the sticks.
And that's the challenging part with these squad rules, is putting together a team that has the chemistry and fits your gameplay style with limitations.
Well, here's Vieira then turning back. Couldn't quite find the ball through. One player who's looking to play without limitations at the moment. Here's that fresh Eden Hazard. Slow build up through the midfield. Rafsou inside the last 5 minutes of regular time here. Mbappe back inside to Hazard. He gets it on his left. Opportunity to strike it, but didn't quite make the most of it.
I'm terrified over this Hazard foot item. Every time he touches the ball, you think something good's going to happen. It looks dangerous, looks dynamic. He's in the right attacking places on the pitch. You got to remember, as a consumer here, as a commentator, as a player, we're getting the first test of some of these team of the season foot items in terms of the competitive level. Are they at that next level? Are they that premium quality? Tier 1.
Well, they're going to build into future teams here. We can see again it's Van Dijk having to deal with Eden Hazard as we see the whistle go. Nothing to separate the two players here, Mike. Tension as we would have expected. 1-1.
And like I said, let's reiterate. I think both players after leg one are okay with how they played and what they had as a game plan and executing it. We saw additional possession play from Rafsou. He controlled the match, kind of dictated the pace. We saw those counterattacks from Chris, and he made quality opportunities. And if he didn't pump fake, if he didn't hesitate in some of those key scenarios, we might be talking about him going into leg number 2 with a lead.
Oh, the one thing I'm worried about, though, for Chris, that counterattacking style can be a little bit worrying as we bring in the replays from that first leg, is the fact that you have to absorb so much pressure. You're kind of inviting Rafsou to attack, which is going to give him opportunities to strike a goal.
And even when you're looking at Rafsou's gameplay, you almost want to tell him, shoot more. Go for it a little bit. There was times where he recycled, almost refreshed his attack, and I don't think he needed to.
This was the equalizer here from NYC Chris. The left foot of Neymar just driving it through 3 players, essentially, if you include the goalkeeper there. Rafsou with a little wipe at the brow there. Couldn't quite believe that managed to beat all of those players. But
it was a synchronized head rub there. The coach as well. They're on the same page.
I mean, we're looking forward to this second leg. You expecting to see many changes between the two?
Not early on. If you're Rafsou, you're thinking, I controlled that game. I just need to shoot more. I need to be a little more clinical. We also saw 1 green time finish, and then we never saw that again. It didn't happen. And then on Chris's end, he's got to say, all right, I hit the post. I was in attacking positions. I just didn't have that flow. I didn't have that rhythm.
Let's talk about that Eden Hazard, that team of the season, Eden Hazard, because I know that you got a little bit, I'm not going to say overexcited, I'm going to say just excited. Thoughts on that?
Well, this is my first time seeing him used at this level, and I was thinking to myself, okay, this guy's ready. He's qualified. I got to put him into my squad. I want to test him out over the weekend. Okay,
we might have the opportunity to do that, but before our second leg, we'll go over to Spencer and Rachel to see what their thoughts are on that first leg.
Oh, we loved it. 1 apiece there in that second quarter final. But it was Rafsou, I guess I'm going to say, that maybe kind of had the goal first, kind of set the standard for the match. And we had an epic miss there from Chris. Spencer, what did you make of that quickly before we get into some highlights?
Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly poised, isn't it, for the second leg? Exactly what you want from the first leg. We're going to look at the miss you talked about there from Chris, first of all. This is great build-up from Chris, and it would have been a fantastic goal. And many more passes even before this clip started. If that goes in... Exactly, and the rebound there, look on the volley, either one of those goes in, he sets the tone for the game. And this again from Rafsou, good build-up. I actually think he got a bit lucky here. I think he should have played the first pass on the edge of the box to Hullet. He tried it inside to Eusebio. Defensive Sanchez was the man that got something on the ball, not enough, and that's a point of contention there because a lot of people are not using Sanchez. And Chris did get back in the game here with some good work from Ronaldo, finding Neymar in the box. You expect him to put that one away. So could Chris be 2-1 up? On the balance of the chances, you'd say yes, but on the balance of the game, in terms of possession, in terms of good play throughout the thirds, I'd say Rafsou was on top. But it's interesting how these key decisions are coming through. Davinson Sanchez not really clearing the ball properly is the main one. And
obviously both scoring with Neymar as well. Different FUT item Neymars as well. Both team of the year ones, but one's a left wing and one's a striker. But boys, second leg, super exciting. What's going to go down?
I have absolutely no idea, Rachel, what's going to go down. I think that's the one thing that we can predict is that it's going to be unpredictable, Mike.
Rachel sounded nervous. I don't know if she's nervous for us, nervous for the players. I've never sweat so much watching FIFA matches. I mean, I'm feeling it because every game means so much. Not just the increase in money, but you get one step closer to being the first eChampions League title holder. That's a major claim.
And every single player that's here, it's 3 games. That's the thing. It's not like that, you go through those Swiss rounds, you kind of slowly go through things, you work your way into a tournament. It's do or die straight away. And before we get into our second leg, we're going to take a quick look at the statistics from Vitality Rafsou here. Anything jumping out for you here, Mike?
I just trust in Rafsou to a certain degree. I know that he has the experience. We've seen him at many tournaments. And I actually feel both these players are in their prime this year. Chris has gotten through that mental hurdle that we talked about, and I hate talking about it, but where he broke through being a bridesmaid. And at this point, he's ready to go. I talked to him before this event. He said, I've never been more confident. We saw him in the PlayStation Finals in Bucharest just a week ago. Looked good, top 8 here. Why not?
Exactly, and I think every single player that's here is thinking, why not? You know, why should I not be that person to walk up and pick that trophy up? Because the beautiful thing about what we are witnessing right now as we get into our second leg is, we're going to say it constantly, Mike, but it's the first name put on that trophy. You are the first person in the record book, the first ever eChampions League winner.
There's nothing better. Let's call it how we see it. There's nothing better than being the first.
Well, here we go then, second leg underway, 1-1. The result from that first leg that we just saw, so essentially 0-0 between the two players. It's going to be Rafsou with the first attempted attack of the game, just waiting for that run of Neymar, finds him. Linesman's flag does stay down as well. Ronaldo now trying to twist, trying to turn, but Marcelo in the left-back position makes a solid tackle.
I'd also like to see Rafsou whip in more crosses. I feel like he's on the wings, he's going down the wings, he's attacking, but he's not whipping in many crosses, he's not showing that balance in his gameplay, and it allows Chris to try to sniff out some of the inside passes.
His players streaming forward here, and a big chance, and Rafsou's just snatched at the opportunity. You have to say, Mike, these kind of opportunities, they don't come along too often.
I've never seen such high caliber players with this much nerves. You don't miss chances like that in terms of just kicking it out of play, basically having a reset here if you're not feeling it a little bit. Maybe a little anxious?
I think you'd have to say, from all of the games that we've seen so far, nerves are going to play a part in this tournament.
And it's like you said, usually you get a Swiss format. If you lose, you're still in the tournament. That's not how this works. You're straight into elimination. Everyone's watching. It's live on stream.
And you can't make any mistakes. It's as simple as that. It's going to be Chris now. First time he's had a real opportunity to try and carve out an opportunity here. Works the ball back to Vieira. And I like this from Chris. A little bit of patience, maybe just trying to get a feel for the ball here, Mike, because he hasn't had too much possession in that first leg.
The worst feeling you can have in FIFA is when you start to rush. Offensively, defensively, none of it works. You have to have composure, and you have to have patience.
Rafsou defends well. No chances to write home about so far in our second leg, and not too surprising to say that, to be honest, with there being nothing between the two players. Chris trying to pressure the ball here, using that second man press to bring a player across. Mbappe now, space in behind for him as well, gets the return ball from Neymar. Digs it in towards that back post, and De Gea will deal with that one, 2 fists on it. And now Chris can try and set up that counter-attack again here.
And we finally see a cross opportunity there. Uh-oh.
You say, uh-oh. Chris has got a huge chance here, and Rio Ferdinand, that's why he is in that centre-back position. Using his pace, using his strength, and that positioning to get back into position, and makes what is a vital tackle.
And Chris's build-up play has been fantastic, just lovely. But his final third decision-making has been the exact opposite. Just hasn't had that extra key pass.
And what do you put that down to at the moment, Mike?
I think he's overthinking it. Doesn't look as decisive. His build-up, we see very decisive passing. He uses the through balls, he's into space, and then when he gets into that final third, it looks like he's second-guessing.
Well, it managed to turn away from the attentions of Vieira there. Van Dijk, it's the one play you do want if you're defending, going up for that header to get it away. Now Chris again looking for the counter-attack, but just slightly rushing it again there, Mike.
If I'm Chris's coach, I think he's got will back there. That's what I'm telling him. Hold it down, slow it down, wait a moment. It's still 0-0 basically. Anyone's game.
Well, here's Rafsou then. He has looked the more creative in the final third. That's a beautiful back heel! And that's a huge save from De Gea. Might be called into action once again. Neymar gets it back on his right. Oh, big tackle there from Sergio Ramos. And one of the questions I asked was, can the UCL, David De Gea, do the same as the team of the year? So far, the answer's been yes.
And you've got to give credit there with Chris. He did a really good job of baiting out that skill move. He was waiting for it, and it allowed him to reset. He cleared it deep. Sometimes clearing the ball, even at the pro level, it's not the worst thing. Yes, you're giving away possession, but it allows you to regain some confidence, to take a deep breath, and then to focus on playing defense again.
Chris is doing a great job at the moment of actually defending well and winning the ball back, but he's losing possession too quickly for my liking, having won the ball back, having done the hard work essentially. And now we might be able to find an opportunity to strike, and you can hear it from Rafsou. He says, let's go, let's go. Because it's now 2-1, and it's a mistake from Chris that leads to the chance.
And it may be a bit of the curse of the commentator. I was saying his build-up has been good, his final third play needed some work, and then he had a couple back-to-back giveaways, and Rafsou's only gonna miss so many chances. And that's his main man, Eusebio.
And we have seen Eusebio be more and more of a vital cog in the machine that has been pros. Teams at 99 finishing is such a vital statistic for when you find that opportunity.
And I would go as far as saying Eusebio is the best finisher for me personally in the game. Regardless of statistics, just personal preference, anywhere on the pitch, both feet. He gives you everything. Long shots, mid-range, inside the box.
Well, here's Rafsou then. He seems to be gaining confidence after that goal. Chris is on the ropes a little bit here. Neymar into Hullet. Hullet will defend this one, but almost gets away with it. And there's an audible reaction to that one from Chris. I think he's a little bit frustrated himself, but he gets away with it. Needs to keep his head here.
This is a scary position for Chris. He's got to slow down his gameplay a little bit. And that's what he looks like he's trying to do, swinging his side to side a little bit more.
Just as you say that, Mike. We see that pass given away, and it looks like we might have a little bit of a technical issue here. You can see some confusion on the eyes of the players and the faces of the players, but Mike, he gives us a chance to talk about what we've seen so far in that game. And you have to say that Rafsou has deserved that lead so far.
Absolutely, he's been better in the second leg in comparison to the first leg. And it's a scary opponent to be down against. I don't want, before we had the technical issues, Rafsou started looking a little more dominant, started to pull away, started to really command a presence of that possession. He was using it. It wasn't just having the ball to have it. He was going forward, and he looked more dynamic than Chris.
Some real intent going forward with Rafsou. I think it's a great way to kind of put it at the moment, whereas Chris has looked a little bit devoid, we should say, of some ideas in that final third, but maybe with that little break, he might have the chance to just think about how he's approaching this game and maybe change things up. But we are back underway, as you can see, just about 5 minutes until the halftime whistle of this second leg in our second quarterfinal of the day. And it's Rafsou again who's trying to continue this pattern. Eusebio, oh, is the ball going to fall to Hullet? De Gea gets a piece of it. And his Spanish comrade there, Sergio Ramos, had to sweep up as Rafsou almost extended his lead by 2. Lovely moments there for Chris, but maybe he can go up the other end now. And it might be a case of missed chances. Coming back to Bayern, Varane has to win that header at the back post.
And that's classic Chris there, back post cross, and it could have gone the other way. You never know. It's kind of a 50-50 with those back post crosses, and that's why you see so many center backs being used as fullbacks to have that additional height in the jumping in order to try to impact the matches in a positive way for them, kind of combat those back post crosses.
We'll see Chris try and come forward again, try to fire that ball into Neymar, who will pick the ball up just as the referee blows his halftime whistle. So another break in play here. 1 goal. The difference between the two players here. You can see Chris speaking to his coach behind him. He's got 45 minutes to turn this one around.
And if I'm Chris's coach here, I'm saying, hey, Chris, you've got plenty of time to work with. You're only down a goal. Don't rush it. Just make sure you take your opportunity, settle down. Just you in the game. Just you versus Rafsou. And if you're looking on Rafsou's end, you got to be thinking, I just got to hold the ball a little bit more, put him under pressure, and take my chances.
Well, pressure can be created by extending that lead. Cristiano Ronaldo, 3 players here from NYC Chris trying to close him down. Goretzka now. Smart play here from Rafsou, though, just using those seconds off the clock.
And it's a bit of a reset, and it's just a reminder to Chris, nah, I'm not going to throw this away. I'm not going to take chances. I don't want to take those risks. I want sure things.
Ball into the box here, and Ronaldo's free at the back post. And I thought, with the angle that ball was coming in and the height of Cristiano Ronaldo, that was almost a surefire chance at goal, but Marcelo got enough on it. The corner not used here by Rafsou. And with 40 minutes left in this game, NYC Chris, his tournament life, it's very much on the line.
A lot of space to work with here for Chris.
Ronaldo goes back inside to Ramos. Finds the run here of R9, uses the El Tornado in towards the back post, and it has all the time in the world. is what Chris does best.
And you want to talk about composure. Everyone at home is hitting this first time. Rude hold it back post, you go for it. Not Chris, he takes the touch. He wants to see if the goalkeeper's gonna move. And that's exactly what happens. Takes a second. And now it's anyone's game, 2-all.
2-2, there's nothing between these two. And it is the player he was talking about in that feature as well. The first name on his team sheet.
Yeah, nice goal, man.
Prime icon moments. Could do it going forward. Could do it going the other way on the pitch as well. He's got absolutely everything. And the one thing he has for Chris is that equalizer. Huge, huge moment in this game.
And Chris like I said earlier, I talked to Chris. And he said, I'm feeling more confident than ever right now coming into this tournament. He's showing that to be able to battle back versus an opponent like Rafsou.
Chris, you can see it now. The passing has a little bit more directness to it. Ronaldo's trying to close down that space, but Rafsou now. He's got to rally back. And the best way to do that for him is maybe trying to expose Davinson Sanchez there. Gets across well there. One of the question marks maybe in this lineup, that 91 rated road to final.
Well, the risk that Chris did when he built his squad, especially with these squad rules, is that he put all of his Champions League players in the defense or the goalkeeper position. So you would think he could take advantage of maybe those guys not being as high rated.
Well, Rafsou's trying to take an opportunity! And he repeats the dosage that Chris just gave him at the other end. Gets the ball in the air, gets the ball towards the back post. And we've said it 1,000 times this season. But is that the most important goal we've seen so far this season? A back post header from Cristiano Ronaldo.
And you see one of those liabilities. Marcelo versus Cristiano Ronaldo, that's never the matchup if you're on the defensive end.
Such a difference in height. Such a difference in power between those two foot items, and Marcelo gets beaten again. It's not the first time we've said it, like I said, and it won't be the last time. And Chris has to bounce back once more. Rafsou back in the lead now. Chris with possession from the restart. Rafsou's trying to close down the space here. But speaking of space, there's a pocket of it here for Ruud Gullit. Ronaldo into Gullit. Oh, big tackle there from Leon Goretzka.
And Chris was going with the ball roll there. It just came out slightly too late, a little bit delayed, and a turnover of possession.
Ooh, it was a little bit of a weak pass, to be honest with you, and Chris can come forward again. La Croqueta finds Ronaldo. He's onside it. Back inside to Gullit. Something's brewing here for Chris. Gullit. Rafsou trying to hold on to things. Mbappe, second by the cherry! 2-2, all tied up once more.
Are you not entertained? What else you want? Back and forth football. Lovely composure once again. I want to throw that out there for Chris. He recycled, he reset, swings it around, gets a bit of a fortunate bounce, but you got to still do what you got. You still got to take that fortunate bounce and apply it.
This tournament, in just the second game, is really providing us with moments to talk about for the rest of the season. 2-2 in this game, 3-3 on aggregate. And with just under 20 minutes left in this game, does one of these players, do they want to take a risk here? Do they want to change things up? Go for that win.
Both players are being tested with their mental strength. Whether it's Chris being able to battle back on multiple occasions. Now Rafsou saying, what does it take? What do I have to do to win this game?
Rafsou's done well there to beat the two challenges coming into the central area of the midfield. Eusebio has a runner outside here. Instead, he's going to invite Leon Goretzka to join the attack. Mbappe versus Ramos. Chris switching players desperately, trying to cover all of these runs, all these avenues towards goal. Mbappe gets it back, lofts it in again. Ronaldo's there again. But this time, a different result.
Chris got to be thinking about taking out Marcelo at this point. You can see that Rafsou has shifted his attacking strategy, and he's trying to hit that back post.
Marcelo does win the ball back here for Chris. He's fantastic on the ground, but as you say, aerially, all season has been suspect. And speaking of suspect, that pass from Chris really has invited pressure on. To Costa now. Into Gullit, Goretzka, big tackle there from Ramos. Now a chance to counter-attack here for Chris. This is how he's been playing, Mike.
Nervy times in these last 10 minutes. We've seen a few more mistakes than we've seen earlier on in this matchup.
7 minutes to go here. A little tornado in, and Van Dijk has to get up. You saw the green timed header from Ronaldo, but it wasn't good enough to beat Virgil van Dijk, and now you're going to see Chris coming forward. You can hear the crowd in-game. They want to see another goal. They want to see a winner. They don't want to see extra time. And maybe Chris, maybe this is his moment. Hullet. Ronaldo turns onto that right foot. Chance to strike it. Vieira gets it all wrong. And maybe, of all the players in that attacking area, the one player you didn't want that chance falling to was Patrick Vieira.
He'd love to have that back. Maybe a tad bit nervy. Fell to the wrong guy. Should have canceled out of that. I think he should have been going for maybe a fake shot to allow you to kind of regather yourself. We all know Vieira's, I don't want to say not a goal-scoring threat, but he's definitely not as efficient as other players on the pitch.
So then, 89 minutes on the clock. We're into the 90th minute here, Mike. Rafsou has possession. He has the chance to book a spot in the semi-final. Hullet, great ball over the top here to Neymar. Mbappe fires it in. De Gea will grab it, and there's still time here maybe for Chris, but it looks like he might be quite happy with extra time. Here is the final whistle. First quarter-final. Went all the way to the last seconds of extra time. Are we going to see a similar story here?
I don't know if I should start talking about it, but could we see penalty kicks?
Oh, you had to say the P word.
I know, it's a dangerous one.
So then, Mike, what goes through a player's head here? Put yourself in their shoes. I'm sure you've been in their shoes 1,000 times. Extra time looms on the horizon.
I can guarantee we're going to see subs. If I'm Chris, I'm thinking about Marcelo potentially getting moved out of that lineup. I just don't like that Rafsou's feeling so confident whipping in these back post crosses. He feels like he has an outlet. He's like, all right, we're going to the back post. Marcelo's there. And at the same time, if I'm Rafsou, got to be Hazard time. Has to be. Bring him onto the pitch. Let him create something for you.
And I think you might have just got your wish. And then Hazard on the pitch. Is he going to be the game changer that Mike Lavelle thinks he can be? NYC Chris does have possession, though, from the start of this first half of extra time. Pocket of space here. Oh, what a finish!
Can he do it again?
Magic from Chris and magic from R9.
The first time passing, the connection. Oh, you got to say, if he wasn't in that free flow in the first leg, looking a little more confident. He's growing into this match in the second leg.
And he built that attack so well. So deliberate in that passing, and that was the one thing he's been missing in this game so far, Mike. But when it matters, NYC Chris has created an opportunity and taken it.
And he scored 3 goals now in this matchup against Rafsou. That's not an easy feat. He's just not going to see the ball that often.
Well, let's see if Rafsou can answer back then. Mbappe using his pace. Back onto that right foot, and I think Raphael Varane has been moved into that fullback position, Mike. So, not just you who's recognizing that situation that was developing for Chris to try and defend. The man who's on the sticks has also recognized that's a weak area. Here comes Rafsou, and the space behind there for Ronaldo just dissipated as that ball was intercepted. Here's your man on the ball, Eden Hazard. Mbappe, oh, and Hazard is unfortunately found on the floor.
And that substitute was so important for Chris because Rafsou does a wonderful job of getting down the wings. And you could see that he was feeling like he's got a good matchup there as you see a mistake from Chris.
Yeah, and that mistake could really hurt him here because Rafsou is pushing forward. Mbappe, big tackle from Ramos, but can't win the ball back. Here's Cristiano Ronaldo! And that is what he can do. Nobody wants to lose.
Everybody's digging deep. It's the eChampions League.
I cannot believe what we are seeing in these first 2 games. Every single player who's been on that stage is leaving it all out there. You've got to wonder, Mike, are they going to have anything left for the semis and finals?
Solid pressure play from Rafsou. Bit of an uncharacteristic mistake in the second leg from Chris. And FIFA punishes you. Or we should say Rafsou punishes you.
Well, Chris is looking to answer back, and he's beating his man. R9's in behind again. Back inside to Mbappe. And Raphael Varane has just shown how important he is. But now it's Ronaldo, and now the goal for Chris! Amazing moments here in extra time, and you just feel this isn't done yet.
Chris is going to make
It's
it.
done now. I think we got more goals in this game. Oh. And we saw Rafsou a little flustered. He had a chance to clear it there. Made a mistake in the back, and Chris able to capitalize.
Half-time here, a chance for us to have a breather, a chance for the players to have a breather. NYC Chris has a 1-goal advantage with just 1/2 of extra time to see it out.
I would love to know what Will's telling Chris right now. I'd love to be, what's the saying, a bee in the room?
I don't think it's
that fly in the wall? What's the saying?
A fly on the wall.
Fly on the wall.
I'd love to, but now it is officially forever.
A bee in a room.
A bee in a room. What is it with you and Spencer and bees?
You know, I tried my best. You know, I was close. I had an insect and I had a room.
Let's talk about the football. Let's talk about the FIFA, Mike. I think it's best that we stick to that, to be honest with you. We'll leave the wildlife programs to those more qualified. But NYC Chris, just moments away, Mike. And I mean, let's talk about Rafsou, though, because what's going through his head right now?
I'm not going to doubt Rafsou. We've seen him make comebacks in the past. We've seen him show a lot of mental strength. I think this is still anyone's game. It's too early to call a winner. Every time somebody scores, they rebuttal back.
And just to that point that you were talking about earlier, that back line now for NYC Chris, Varane at left back, Van Dijk, Sanchez, and Ramos. He's negating that threat that Rafsou was exposing so well with Marcelo in. And that's where we talk about adaptation. We were talking about it being a big feature of some of the players who are going to progress in this tournament. He is showing NYC Chris he has that in the locker.
And if you're Chris here, you got to think, hey, maybe I will have to clear it a couple times, depending on the pressure play that Rafsou brings. Because you got to think second leg or second half of extra time that Rafsou's going to give you everything.
Here we go then. The one thing for Rafsou that is in his favor is the fact that he has the ball from the restart. Possession is in his hands. Hullet. Hazard. Aubameyang now on the pitch as well, and Neymar gets a piece of it. But Rafsou keeps it alive. Hazard. Aubameyang. A big chance there. And now Chris can come away. Rafsou has to win this ball back, Mike.
I can feel the tension. Do you feel the tension, Mark?
I can feel it. I think the players are feeling it more than anyone. And Chris has managed to escape with the ball here. R9 goes past Van Dijk. Rio Ferdinand just has the pace to get back in. And there is time for another attack here for Rafsou. Here's Aubameyang. Looking to use that pace to get in behind. But is that a sign of desperation there, Mike?
A bit of desperation, and it's a disaster, too, for Rafsou, because now Chris gets the reset, walks off at least 3-4 minutes of clock. And you got to think Rafsou's only got maybe one more attack left, at best.
A goal here for NYC Chris, and this tie is done, but Rafsou wins the ball back. The Frenchman, his entire eChampions League tournament life, comes down to this attack potentially, and Patrick Vieira, that is as good as a goal here for NYC Chris. Ramos, chance to finish it here for Chris. Ronaldo with the scoop turn around the outside. And smart play here from NYC Chris. The most important thing for him here is the clock, not creating another chance. Chris just easing the time down. Rafsou needs to win the ball back now. Chris is not letting it happen. NYC Chris has shown steel. He's shown determination. He has shown everything you need to show to get into a semi-final. All that we're waiting for now is the referee to confirm what we already know, and there it is! NYC Chris with the performance of a lifetime.
And you see the heartbreak there from Rafsou. I mean, this means everything. You double your money, eChampions League title. You could be the first ever representing, you know, not just yourself, but also your country, your fans, people that watch you, people that support you. You can see what it means to both of these players.
And that smile that we just saw there on NYC Chris is just